Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So Noah Dobson has been traded to the Montreal Canadiens. It all started brewing this morning when we found out that it was the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens that were basically in a bidding war for Noah Dobson. He ends up going to the Montreal Canadiens for Emil Heineman in the 16th and 17th overall selections in the 2025 draft. And this is going to be like my initial off-the-cuff reaction. I did type up some notes, but considering this is my New York Islanders, I feel like I can kind of just riff on this. And we're going to start with the New York Islanders because I do like this a decent amount for them. Is there a lot of uncertainty with this, considering they went down the route of a futures package instead of some kind of like Jordan Kyrou package that was rumored? Of course, but if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am of the team that the Islanders need a year or two potentially to retool/rebuild, maybe suck next year and be in the race for a Gavin McKenna. And I think this move definitely opens up that if you were to re-sign Noah Dobson, which apparently in New York on Long Island, he wanted a $10+ million deal, 10.5, maybe even $11 million. If I'm Matthew Darche, I didn't want to pay him that, considering the season that he had, and he was still very good and an analytical darling, actually, although my eye test did not exactly reflect that. A 70-point guy that last year still had 39 points in 71 games. You just got to move on, especially when you jump in the draft lottery. And now that you have a Matthew Schaefer coming in, that does make Noah Dobson a little bit expendable for the New York Islanders that have this aggressively mediocre roster. Like we all agree, if they locked up Noah Dobson, nothing really was going to happen in terms of high-level contention the next 2 to 3 years, unless Richie, Yzerman, and Schaefer just absolutely hit the ground running. So I do like this, especially now at 16th and 17th overall. You might have the ammo to go after a James Hagens, who might fall to 6th, 7th, 8th overall. So the fact that they are opting to go the younger route, potentially pick up their future number one center, I do think it is good. I think after this, they should also look at trading Romanov. I look like trading Jean-Gabriel Pageau. Both of those guys can probably get you a late first-round pick. So Darche was in a really tough spot. Under Lamoriello, they could not reach a deal with Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson fires his agent. Then the Islanders get a new general manager. Still can't figure out a contract negotiation. Negotiations were a shit show. He just had his number at 10.5 or whatever with the Islanders, or 10, and just didn't want to negotiate on it. And if you're Matthew Darche, this is probably the best package that you had, and I like this a lot. Obviously, ideally, you would have wanted the 4th overall pick, so you knew that you were for sure getting James Hagens, but that apparently wasn't up in the air. They had their eyes on JJ Peterka and other stuff, and nobody else within that range really was in on Noah Dobson. So to pick up 2 mid-first-round picks, yes, they would have got on an offer sheet 2 first-round picks, I think, on top of maybe a 2nd or 3rd-round pick, but that's probably from a playoff team. 16th and 17th overall. I know it's not the strongest draft, but also, if they stay there, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. You could potentially have, like, a Jackson Smith, Justin Carbonneau, Carter Bear, Victor Eklund fall at 16th or 17th. I don't love it. Those guys could all be gone. But for my New York Islanders, I think I'm going to go with like a B+ for them when it's all said and done. Obviously, this is a potential setup move for the James Hagens move, so we can't give it like a definitive grade at this point. And Heineman, I'm not going to act like he's anything special. I think he had like 18 points in 61 games based on what I saw. Can be an impact third liner for a long time. I don't know. He's something. He's at least something. Probably has the value of like a late 2nd-round pick at this point. So I can't fully kill Darche, and I actually like this a decent amount. I was kind of over Noah Dobson, and now we're going to segue into Noah Dobson going to the Montreal Canadiens. For the Canadiens, let's just start out like the 16th and 17th overall pick, although I, as an Islanders fan that's kind of wanting to go younger, value them a decent amount. For the Montreal Canadiens, rightfully so, they don't value the 16th or 17th overall picks that much, considering they right now have a top 3 prospect pool in hockey, considering most of their best players on their team are under the age, basically like all of them are under the age of 26. So for them, the 16th and the 17th overall pick were very expendable. If they drafted there, they would have got their 4th and 5th best prospects in their overall prospect pool, and their 11th or 12th best U26 guys within the organization. So it makes sense to swing on a guy like Noah Dobson. That is a year removed from 70 points. That last year did have very solid analytics. That is 6'4" compared to their number 1 defenseman of the future, Lane Hudson. That is a little bit undersized. Now, Noah Dobson, he needs to be more consistent defensively. He needs to get more physically. My main problem with Noah Dobson is net front. He gets bodied nonstop. But for the Montreal Canadiens, 9.5, it is a sizable risk, although he is 25 years old. Again, big. Does have solid offensive tools. Can't power play. Can't quarterback a power play, which is why I'm elated at the Islanders moving off him, potentially bringing in someone else. That's why I don't want to pay him 10.5 if you can't give me a solid power play. He doesn't have to do that in Montreal. He can just be a second pair, second power play kind of guy. I think that it's going to be very interesting next season in more of a reduced role, how he's going to perform. And yeah, going forward, he's just not going to have the same workload that he did on the New York Islanders. So if it was at 10.5, I'd have some reservations for this with Montreal. At 9.5, I still think it's risky. Montreal Canadiens fans are acting like it's a slam dunk that he's going to be a consistent 55-point guy behind Lane Hudson. You're going to get very angry at Noah Dobson at times. The Noah Dobson experience, he's basically Evan Bouchard, but slightly worse in terms of like the lows. The lows are decently low in terms of dumb turnovers, out of position, being lazy at times. So it's a move that's going to make them a safe playoff team next year, considering they got Demidov and Dobson basically adding them next season to a roster that's already so young and only going to improve. So for the Montreal Canadiens, I think you got to go with like an A minus, maybe even an A. Again, $9.5 million is a sizable amount. And I think in 2 to 3 years, it'll be a solid deal. The first couple of years might be an $8 to $9 million player, if we're going to be honest, or maybe even lower. But for Montreal, you're really not going to enter your contention window until 2027. And then it's probably going to go for 8 years or something like that. So you care more about the final 4 years of this deal than the first 4 years of this deal, clearly. And as the salary cap continues to rise, as we talk about all the goddamn time, 9.5 is going to be solid number 2 money. In 5 to 6 years, yeah, initially I was a little bit concerned on it for Montreal just because the reports were coming out that he potentially wanted $11 million. I'm sure with Columbus, he would have wanted $11.5 million. But yeah, pretty funny. I saw this tweet, or I saw it in an Instagram comment section, that they acquired Noah Dobson from the pick in the Travis Hamonic deal with the Calgary Flames, and the Montreal Canadiens traded the pick from the Sean Monahan deal from the Calgary Flames to get Noah Dobson. So Calgary fans, look away. Don't go on social media today. But yeah, Noah Dobson is a Montreal Canadian. This is kind of just my initial spiel. For the New York Islanders, he was playing very hard ball, and I think at this point he did become decently expendable. They need to bring in some kind of right-handed defenseman this summer just to stabilize it in terms of that. You can't just run back Tony DeAngelo and call it a day, considering Ryan Pollock's also regressing a decent amount. But for my Islanders, I like it. You get younger, which is such a priority. Like, again, if they gave him an 8x10, 8x10.5, I think people would also criticize the Islanders for just committing to mids. The fact that they're going down this route. Hopefully I have another video in 3 to 4 hours saying, or I'm going to be doing a live stream, by the way, tonight on the draft. So if they trade for James Hagens, you'll see my live reaction, hopefully, to that. But yeah, for the Montreal Canadiens, very exciting time for them. Very exciting time for them. They did give up a decent amount and gave up a decent contract, so I can't say it's an absolute slam dunk. But 6'4" right-handed defensemen definitely do not grow on trees. And when you look at the Montreal Canadiens, I forgot to mention, like Reinbacher, with those injuries, there is some concern if he'll ever reach his ceiling in terms of being that top pair right-handed defenseman. So locking in Dobson, not sure if him and Hudson are going to play together. If you're a Canadiens fan, let me know. I feel like the defensive downside of that could be so bad, but offensively, that would be special. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of it. Hopefully we get more trades. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.